Hello, YouTubers. Joe Kersey here, and depending on whatever day you're watching this, this was videoed on Sunday, January 16th, with my son Thomas and myself. It was quite long. It was about a little over 2 hours and 20 minutes, and I've split this thing down so we talk about a number of things. So here's another segment of it. Enjoy if you wish, or skip around if you wish. Alrighty. He's a good soul.
But then it occurred to me, I'm like, yeah, but if we go and transfer this title and all that,
Well, you got to get insurance on it.
well, yeah, but I'll have to pay the fucking sales tax.
Yes, yes. Well, has a sales price been quoted to you?
Yeah, I'm going to give her 11,000 for it.
Okay, so that's 7%. Well,
Oh,
or six or six.
so-
Well, it depends. In Delaware County, it's 7%.
Yeah, it's like 7.5 in Franklin.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
did they rate the
yeah.
dang? I thought it was like 6.5.
Dicks.
Well, then it's easy enough to calculate. I mean, that's like hell. That's what about $850 somewhere in there?
Yeah, so $825. So I'm like, I don't have $825 in cash sitting around. Well, I mean, I do, but I don't want to spend it. So I'm
No,
like,
right.
she's just gonna have to wait. She's gonna have to wait. It's all gonna get wrapped up here. I'm gonna get the lawyer on the horn this week, and so.
Well, yeah, I hope. I mean, that's again, like I said, if she really drags her feet, and it sounds to me like she sort of already has, but certainly, give her another month.
Well, I called or emailed when I finally got the check from the mortgage company, which, by the way, waited until, like, hang on to every cent, as long
Oh
as you
yeah.
can.
No, that's the way they are. I mean, it just amazed me how long they hung on, even when I sold that 4th Street house.
So anyway, I emailed her as soon as I got the check, and she emailed me right back and said, "Well, I'm, really busy through to the end of the year, so let's get together at the new year." Then we'll close out the estate. Okay, well, it's
Well, that's what you
January 7th,
well,
so let's get going.
That's what you said the other night. I mean, it's in Ohio, estates, as you know, are supposed to be closed out after 9 months.
Yeah.
And,
well, we've had 2 extensions now.
Well, that's not unusual. I mean, let's see. My mother died, basically October 1st, 2000. And I think when was the final distribution down there in Hedges' office? It was.
Oh, okay. It's doing.
It's doing its workaround.
It did like a double trip. Yeah. Okay.
I think that was probably in May, June, probably May or June, April or May. So it went on, at least 18 months. For the most, 17 months, 16. No, 18 months, basically. And that's standard, They like to piss and moan about it, but, even my judge friend at church says,
Yeah, they send you the nasty letter, but it's.
Well, I never got. Well, of course, my sister was the executor, so she was getting all the nasty letter shit. I mean, it's like only she and Hedges can tell the tale. Now he offered now that everybody's, past, long past all this stuff. That I ought to call. I don't know, he may be dead, but I've often thought about this. He says, call me, come on down, and we'll have lunch, and I'll tell you everything. Do I? On one level, I want to do it, find out, because I like to find out.
Yeah.
That's the history guy in me.
Yeah.
I want to know.
Yeah.
I want to know. I don't care how bad it is. I want to know. Well, it's like with a patient. It's like with some patients, they want to know. Be like with me. Yeah. I want to know.
Yeah.
And then it's like, is this the way to resurrect? Do you want to resurrect this stuff? And is that? I don't think I'd interact. I don't think I'd ever mention it to Hallie. I know I wouldn't mention it to Ed. And if at this stage of the game, if I
It
mentioned
doesn't seem like it's going to matter anyway.
he wouldn't know. You know?
Yeah.
I could have told him I got a spot on Elon Musk's BFR.
Yeah, just talk to you about his dogs.
Well, I like to talk to people about their dogs. I'll talk to people, I don't care if he only has 2 dogs and he talks to me about 11 dogs.
Well, so what is there to know? I mean, what is there that you don't
I
know?
want to know the timeline of who motivated who to do what when.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because, see, my mother had already made 2 wills. 3, actually. The first one, of course, left everything to her husband, who died first. Well, he had made one, left everything to her. So then the second will was the half and half will. Everybody gets half and half, like my dad wanted. Okay. And I don't think he was thinking about just half and half of the probate estate. I think he was thinking of half and half about
everything,
any money there.
Yeah.
Okay. Then the third will, actually maybe 4 wills, I guess. And then the third will was, and she gave Hallie a copy of this will, and she called me with, about this about 7 or 8 days before Ed drove down there and took her into Hedges so she could make the final and last will. She called me. She said, I just saw Mother's will. She said, have you seen it? I said, oh, yeah, she showed it to me while I was handling your financial stuff while she was in the rest home.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what she did. I know she was working things. I mean, I saw all her financial stuff. I mean, so I know exactly where I was going to stand. I was going to stand like essentially Zippo.
Yeah.
Except for a trivial amount that would be left in the probate estate after the estate tax payment. She says, I'm so distressed. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. She says, don't do anything. In the end, it won't make any difference. I'll still end up with nothing, except whatever little bits left in the thing.
Yeah.
She says, well, at least you'd get half the land. I said, that's fine. That might be fine. We have to see how that could work out. Okay. All right. Fine. So about 3 days later, Ed hoses down there, collects my mother, drives her into Hedges' law office. Now, I don't know if he was in the room with her or not. See, that would be another thing I could ask Hedges. Okay. Who was she coerced? I mean, here's a woman that basically weighs, at that point, around 56 pounds. Okay.
Yeah.
She's in La La Land most of the time.
Yeah.
And she ends up making a will, leaving everything, half and half. But by that time, she had set up all of her checking and savings accounts as joint tenants with survivorship, and everything, the joint tenant on all of them was Hallie. To the tune of upwards of $300-some thousand. All right? So that's not going to come to me. That will be taxed as part of the estate because the death taxes were still in effect at that time. But that ain't going to be coming to me. So the remnant checking account, the rump checking account that was left after all this was around $300,000. Okay. Oh, great. No, but see, the various taxes, death taxes, were around $280,000 or something.
Good God!
Such that the amount of stuff left in the actual probate checking account that could be split between Hallie and myself was $22,000. So that somehow got worked out in that little conference. And then let's see. Election day that year was what, November 3rd or November 3rd, and then what was on election day, as a matter of fact. I hadn't heard from her for about 3 days, and usually I talk to her about every other day.
Your mom or Hallie?
Hallie. Well, no, my mother.
Okay.
I called her, no answer. This is all in the morning. Called her, no answer, no answer. No. Well, I thought, after I made the second call, sometimes I'd call her twice and I'd get no answer. I figure she's up playing bridge with her buddies, Because they'd come in, they'd fetch her, and they'd go in, or they'd go to some, cafeteria, retiree, Muzaki joint, I don't know who they eyed. They're clearly not looking at well, knowing that crowd, they were making critical comments about everybody else around.
Yeah.
Not my mother so much, but some. She could chime in with the best of.
I can't imagine.
Yeah. So I thought, should I call her a third time? And I said, because if you call her a third time, you're going to have to drive down there and check on her. And she didn't answer. Okay, she's my mother. I got to do the right thing. So I called her. It's like, no answer.
Yeah.
So I drove down.
Yeah.
And it takes, about 2 hours. It takes me about 2 hours. It's 105 miles, and you have to go through the fucking center of Columbus, okay? And it's getting dark, and it's getting even colder, and the wind's picking up. And I go into where she leaves her key, in the so-called garage, and she likes it, the so-called garage. And the key is not there. No key. So I thought, how do I break into this house without breaking into this house? So, the little plexiglassy, storm windowy things in the screen doors are very flexible.
Yeah.
So I was able to kind of, and I had some sort of thin, I had my knife, and I just kind of unlocked the door. And so then I was like, usually the back door, the back door was, this porch was built on the back of the outside of the original house.
Mm-hmm.
And so the door from the porch to the inside was the original outside door.
Right.
And it had a typical skeleton key lock.
Right.
It's like one of the old skeleton keys. You stick it in and you turn it.
Yeah.
I thought, I have from time to time been able to do that under certain circumstances. But since somebody had taken most of my dad's tools off the back porch cabinets, or from the back porch cabinets, I had nothing really to work with. So that nothing for it, so I just broke the damn window and went in. The second time in my life I had to break a window to get my own house. Well, it wasn't my house then, but well, it wasn't my house the first time either. But to get inside, I was 12 then, and it was like 10 degrees, a foot of snow on the ground, but. And I'm hearing,
Jeez.
Mother, it's me. It's me. And we were off. Now, so I went into the, as she liked to call it, the musicless room. The east room there where the piano is. The musicless room. Yes, the musicless room. Yes, there's always that little passive aggressive. Because, I just wasn't any damn good at the piano despite taking lessons for 7 years.
For 7 years, and you still couldn't fucking play the piano.
Well, I could play the Happy Farmer. I couldn't play it now.
After taking lessons for 7 years, I still wasn't any good at the piano.
I was able to finally play the Christmas carols for the sort of like the graduation
God.
Sunday school class at the Methodist Church one year. Well, that was a very evanescent achievement. The so well, she was half on and half off the couch where she slept downstairs.
Yeah.
So now she'd either fallen while trying to get off the couch or had fallen while trying to get back on the couch after having gone to the can. Because they had installed a can.
That downstairs.
The downstairs can.
I remember seeing that.
Which was a nice can. Of course, it discharged into a 50-gallon drum septic tank out in the side yard, which then discharged into the ditch in front of the house. Shh! Don't tell anybody that. I don't think they fixed that one.
Oh, you're recording. I didn't even realize you were recording.
So, well, obviously, she was clear. I mean, she wasn't in extremis, but for all practical purposes, she was in extremis. You know? So I got her up, and I don't know. I mean,
was she broken?
Well, it turned out she had a pelvic fracture, but there wasn't anything else. There wasn't anything obvious broken.
Right,
there wasn't like any blood coming off her head, or like me when I fall, or blood coming off the arms, or it's just
you've been in a Mexican bar fight.
Yeah, like a Mexican bar fight. Yeah, like a Mexican bar fight. And so I called 911. And I said, Mama, I tried to explain, but I said, she's very, very, in a very bad state. I'm a retired physician. Of course, they don't believe you.
Yeah.
They don't give a fuck.
They're like,
Yeah.
I'm a dentist. Yeah.
Well,
yeah, whatever, buddy.
I'm a big, fat, overweight paramedic that didn't graduate from high school and can barely speak standard English, if that. Yeah, and so you ain't a physician, buddy.
Yeah.
That's the attitude you can hear coming down the line. And I really try to tell people that I'm a physician. I try to just deal with them on standard terms. Well, come on. It's like this guy was going to drag his fucking feet. I said, look. I grew up in this township, not more than 700 yards away from where your fire station is, where you're sitting on your ass. Come down here and take care of my mother.
Oh, he didn't want to come?
No, they were going. You could hear them talking and joking in the background.
That's not the way they do things in Franklin County.
Well,
my God,
they generally don't do it that way in Warren County either. But that night in Turtle Creek Township, that's what they were doing. So they came down and carried her down to Bethesda Hospital, and she was 54 pounds, and she had cracked pelvis, which right there you're dropping 2 units of blood into the pelvis. Mm-hmm. Okay, so she was hypotensive, and she was wrecked.
Yeah.
So they kind of tuned her up a bit, and put her out to pasture there in the rest home, and then they fattened her up a bit. And then she was fortunately able to get this assisted living joint over in Mount Pleasant.
Mm-hmm.
So they took good care of her. But I thought, if after 3 calls, if I had not gone down there, I could just see some zealous, hotshot female, save the world prosecutor. And at that time, Warren County had a female prosecutor. Elder neglect. Despite the fact I've been bringing her food every 10 days or 2 weeks. Yeah. Elder neglect. Oh, they wouldn't believe me when I said that this was, quite often she wouldn't answer the phone, in the morning, after about a 2-hour interval, because she'd go with her buds. Yeah. It's not like they're hoisting a few, but I'll tell you, it would have done a lot of them a lot more good and made them a lot more pleasant people to deal with if they had hoisted a few.
I'm sure. Oh my gosh.
So that's the story of the will, maybe or maybe not coercion.
So you want to get the timeline then?
Yeah, I'd like to
find out who said what to who.
I have a fairly complete timeline about the actual sort of like staging points. But I want to know what little, see, because Hedges can tell me, I mean, Ed Wilson wasn't his client.
Yeah.
My mother was his client.
Right.
She's dead, so that doesn't matter now.
Right.
Hallie was not his client. Was his client insofar as she was an executrix of the estate. She's no longer an executrix.
Right.
I'm a party with interest in it. He can tell me anything
Yeah.
he chooses to tell me.
Yeah.
But ethically.
Well,
at
point,
least in Ohio.
Yeah.
I don't know how it works in other states.
Well, and at this point.
Oh, and let's leave aside the fact that this guy in Hamilton, Ohio, 2 years later, on February 3rd, 2003, that Ed had hired to handle the navigation easement.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
Thought he wanted to give me a bump, so he sends me this big, thick package of materials with a blank affidavit to sign. No writing on top, just sign here. Sworn to under, There's no way in hell. Well, so I called this guy immediately. And of course the secretary's trying to I said you better get him on the horn right now after the stunt he pulled this morning. FedEx, 7 o'clock in the morning, bump against the door. It's like the old thing in the ER when you'd hear the body roll out of the car and thump against the door, and the family headed off to Florida. They put Mama in the hospital for the winter. They just toss her out, and she'd bump against the ER doors, and they're off. That's what this package of materials sounded like.
It's hilarious.
Anyway, so
I'd forgotten about all of that.
So I went down, and that's a little bit of a separate portion.
Yeah,
but you've heard that. So.
That's a whole other saga.
Yeah. Henry said I could get him disbarred. I wonder if I could get him disbarred even now.
I don't know. Probably too long.
I have the damn evidence.
Blank affidavit.
Yeah, blank affidavit. So I want to know who's the. I won't use the phrase that was very common where I was growing up. Let's call it the person of color in the woodpile here. That's what I'd really like to find out. A mother, Hallie, Ed, combination of ingredients. A triumvirate. What?
A triumvirate.
Yeah.
A triumvirate was probably it.
I've always thought that my sister and I could have worked things out.
Maybe you still can't. It's not like I don't know the difference now.
Maybe I can buy him a dog.
Yeah, buy him a dog.
I just bought you a couple of dogs.
Yeah, here's a couple of dogs.
That's so bad.
Take the boat out.
Yeah,
You take the boat out today.
Yeah, we got. You want to go out Lake Huron? It's like you tell these guys, let's go hunting. I think we should go hunting. It's like, I remember there was this one guy, this one surgeon that looked over and I think he might still be in Columbus area, so I won't say his name. An anesthesiologist, let's say, was a real asshole and nobody liked. And this guy says, I want to take you hunting someday. Well, I often said to him, I said, you better hope I never get a fatal disease.
Oh, I know this. Okay.
Yeah. Well, there were two guys I said that to. One was this horrible vascular surgeon. I mean, he was a good vascular surgeon, but he was a horrible human being. I'm not so damn sure this anesthesiologist saw that, what it was cracked up to be. Well, I came in the room and he's sitting there with his feet in his drawer and his machine drawer, and he's reading a fucking paper with his back to the patient in the case. Pressure's 90/60. No, I wouldn't say that's a damn good way to run a case. He was checking the stocks. He was getting ready to pull his cell phone and call his
Yeah,
broker.
make a little purchase.
Yeah, make a little purchase. Of course, you couldn't do it. You couldn't call from the OR. You had to go out and use the phone in the sterile supply hall. Well, at least you could look in and sort of see what's going on there. You know. Like,
Yeah, buy 400 shares of Apple. Yeah, hurry up though. I got a case.
well, it wasn't so much Apple then. It was
No.
the biologicals like Genentech.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, that was the big one back in the late '80s and early '90s.
they're still big.
Yeah, well, yeah. Well, but they sagged there for a while, big time.
Yeah.
I know a person just a few miles from here that lost, well over $23,000 on that, and panicked and sold.
Oh.
Whereas if he just held, he
You
would
just hang on to it. Kelly's got one of her old Battelle friends works for Genentech as a auditor. Like a bio auditor.
Well, she'll know where the secrets are hidden, so she better watch her back. I mean, does she wear like a bulletproof vest under her all that protective gear?
She's been told that she's too thorough.
Ah, there you go. That's a bad. She's probably got a red laser dot on her house right tonight.
Even as we speak.
Yeah, I mean, they got some guy out there across the street watching the doorway, waiting for the clear shot.
She lives with this guy who is the most cynical social worker I've ever met in my life. He works for the state of Ohio, and basically his job is to manage welfare people.
That's good. That's good to know that there actually is a cynical social worker in the state of Ohio.
He's like, it's ridiculous, man.
He must be the only one.
He's like, when I first met him, he's like, have you ever seen, Goodfellas? I'm like, yeah, I love that movie. He's like, the scene where it's like, fuck you, pay me.
I love that.
He's like, these people on welfare, they just show up. They're just like, fuck you, pay me. And like, you run through the series of questions that you have to. They don't care. They just want their check.
That was the stand.
And he's like so bitter.
That was a standing joke in the surgeon's lounge among all specialties. That involve knives and time and skill and things. And and a lot of times not having any choice as to whether you take them on or not. And I was like, wouldn't it be great if, instead of using Columbus Medical Bureau to send them a bill, they take a 5% cut of what they collect or something. But that was a very good deal, by the way.
Oh, jeez. No. Is that a collection agency? That's not like your regular billing.
No, that's the billing agency. Yeah.
God, 5%.
Well, honey, you want me to sit here every night writing all this shit out? Breast biopsy code, and all the insurance stuff. No. I mean, 5% for that? That's cheap. So we all said, wouldn't it be great if we could hire a bunch of like these biker dudes,
like some Hell's Angels.
Yeah, came out with clubs and chains, and like sawed off shotguns hanging, so like, and then bang, 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 and you get some little like or someone like me now, coming to the door, like
looks like you still owe for this breast biopsy.
No, it doesn't matter, honey. Fuck you, pants. Fuck you, pay me. It's like, wouldn't it be great if medical ethics allowed you to do that?
Oh gosh.
It was rain. The last heavy rain we had here about maybe 2.5 weeks ago. And this was during a weekday. No, it was Saturday. It was a Saturday, and I remember this because these guys come up and they have like these. One guy had a really nice hat.
Yeah,
it looked like almost like. Remember the guy, the Van Cleef character that had the black felt hat with the broad brim.
Yeah,
and he had a nice long black coat. I mean, he was really dressed spiffly. Had really nice shoes. I really don't pay shit attention
Yeah,
issues, but
yeah.
in this case, this guy, and both of these guys are standing out there on the platform, so you can imagine, how motivated they were to talk with me. So for some reason I was having one of my mostly undressed days, so I pulled.
I was having one of my mostly
So I
undressed
pulled
days.
my pants on, and so I opened this door, and I had no idea. And these guys are very pleasant and charming. So hello, and all. So I just said after about 12 seconds, "What do you want?" And they said, "We want to talk to you about our Lord Jesus Christ." And I had this already out already. I said, "I'm on your side, guys. I'm reading in church tomorrow."
You made me put on my pants.
I didn't know that. So get out of the rain, and thanks for coming by.
You made me put on pants for that.